Hey bitches, my name is Elle and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing an ombre and I am going to teach you how to make a basic template in Cricut Design Space. Super simple. I'm telling you, anybody can do it. I was so stumped on what to do with this ombre. I said, I got it. I'm going to get a piece of vinyl, create a template with squares, and we're going to make this happen. First, I want to thank you for all the subscribes, the shares, the likes, all the things. It is greatly appreciated and we are reaching our goal with every single video. Everything that I will be using will be down below in the description box with a link and a special discount code. So y'all ready to get into this tutorial? Let's get it. All right, bitches, let's get into it. We're gonna ombre. So I have several how to ombre videos, but we are going to ombre this one too. This was just, we were playing with different glitter colors live, and I had never used Savannah or Free Spirit. Both of these glitters are from Petey Creative Studio, and you'll be able to find them down below in the description box. Savannah is a beautiful multi-size mix, and Free Spirit is a fine 0.015, but it has a crazy out of this world yellow blue shift. So first, I prep my tumbler. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Some prep, some don't. I'm a prepper. I strip my tumblers if I don't like them and reuse them. And I notice when I prep, it is harder for me to get that glitter and adhesive off. Even the epoxy when it has a good seal. Seriously, bitches, if you don't prep, cool. What works for me may not work for you. Now, if you do sand that tumbler, make sure you get your 91% alcohol and wipe that tumbler down. If you sanded it good enough, you're going to get some of that stainless steel particles on that paper towel, so you want to make sure it's clean before adhesive. All right, so let's get into first coats. So, we are going in with Adhesive Apothecary's Cauldron color in the color Ghosted. This is their white. This is a 3-in-1 paint, primer, and adhesive. You can use it as an adhesive or a base coat. And when it dries smooth. Literally have used spray paint maybe once since I've started using the Cauldron colors. I will have them linked down below as well in the description box. I like giving a generous coat because it all depends on your environment, but the Cauldron color dries pretty fast in mine. I have a very small space and my AC blows directly on my work area. With that being said, my first coat is my map. Worry about it being perfect. I just worry about covering that adhesive, covering the whole tumbler, and getting a visual where my blend is going to be for my ombre. I'm going to speed this part up so we can get into the fun part. Y'all heard that? I'm moving up. I added some music. Anywho, let's get into the first coat. So I always start with my darkest color first. I am admiring this beautiful glitter. We are going in with Savannah, and we are going to cover that ass. We are going to make sure that ass is covered really good. We're going to bring it up about 1/4 of an inch, do our band all the way around the tumbler, and then y'all know the deal. We're going to tilt it and let that glitter cascade down to the rim. The more you tilt, the further the glitter will fall. The less you tilt and move it up and down, that's where you get your control. So I am going to aim at that line, my glitter line where I stopped, and I tilt it down pretty far. That's me. I want that glitter falling. Once I go all the way around the tumbler, then we're going to grab that second color. Always remember, if you mess up on the first coat, it is okay. You can redeem it on the second. I do not stress out on the first. Also, after I get my glitter, cascading down the tumbler, I will move and darken up spots that I want to be darker. Look at me looking at it. Okay. Got some bald spots. I'm going to go in and fill in those spots. Now we're going to go in with Free Spirit. This is that white with that beautiful yellow blue. Oh my gosh, shift. I can't wait for you guys to see it. And I am going to do the same thing. Go around the top rim. I'm admiring the shift. It's insane. This one is one of my faves. Get a thick band of glitter around that top rim, and then we're going to tilt it, and we're going to start glittering and filling in the rest of the tumbler. I do this a lot in this video because I am shook. So we're going to tilt it, and we're going to cover the rest of that tumbler. So my cauldron color started drying really quick because I was running my mouth, admiring the glitter, and I had some streaking. You're going to see it here real soon. Right here, you see the streaking, but have no fear. When I went in with my second coat, it went away. Now I am going to use my fingernail to remove the glitter to expose that top rim. I used to wait to do this until after my coats of epoxy. I'd always do my rim job after I decaled, but ever since I saw this little hack, this is how I do all of my tumblers now. I literally just go around the entire tumbler with my fingernail. It's the perfect length for it, and I keep it pretty short so I can do this because now I don't have to use my X-Acto knife and cut myself and all that stuff. So once we get our rim exposed, we then go into drying it in second coats. As most of you know, I do my tumblers live, so I'm going to pull out my heat gun, turn it on the low setting, and dry my tumbler. We're going to fast track it. We are going to get this dry so we can go into the second coats and get that taken care of. So I'm going to speed this up, and then we'll be back for second coats. Alright, so we're going into second coats, and I use Adhesive Apothecary's thick glitter glue, and I load it on. And when I'm doing multiple colors, I will make sure that my lightest color is covered with the adhesive first, and then I will go in and brush over my darkest color. Some spots weren't completely dry, but that didn't stop me from applying the adhesive. We went straight in so we can get these second coats done. We know my ombre process, so I am going to speed the rest of this up until we get towards the end. Alright, bitches, same as the first coat, we're going to cover that ass, and we are going to do a 1/4 to 1/2 inch around, tilt the tumbler, and let that glitter cascade. I did kind of speed it up because it was like 8 minutes long. I can't talk that much, bitches. But once we get done with Savannah, I get it laid down, and as far down as I like it, we are going to go in with Free Spirit and finish off this tumbler. I just got my little hammer to knock all the excess glitter off so I do not contaminate my white. And here we go. Same thing, like we always do. And I am going to make sure the entire tumbler is covered. No adhesive is showing. And once I get my glitter laid how I like it, like you can see that yellow shift so good. And some blue. We already did this around the rim on the first coat. It makes it so much easier for the second because you already have that stainless steel exposed. So I get my fingernail and I go back over it just to make sure it's good. Then I let this spin. You don't have to let it spin, but I just throw it on my turner, let it spin, let it dry overnight, and then we get into first coats of epoxy. But first, we had to run outside so you guys can see what it looked like in natural light and just look at the shift. I was absolutely in love with these color combo, this ombre. It literally blew my mind, but I had no clue what I was going to do with this. So let's get into first coats of epoxy. So yeah, TikTok has not been letting me download my lives. It's been very hit and miss. So that's why there's captions on the screen. But I mixed up 30 ml of DIY Epoxy Speedy Petey. I did seal this with binding potion, but I did not record. I put a generous amount of binding potion on and let dry for 24 hours before I went into these coats of epoxy. I was epoxying other tumblers as well. I put about 20 ml over this tumbler. Once it dried, I went directly in with another coat of Speedy Petey. And then I let it spin until it dried. You can see up there, have no idea what I'm doing yet, but we're about to get into it. Y'all ready? I'm about to show y'all how to make your own template in Cricut Design Space. So let's get into it. All right, bitches. So I measured my tumbler after epoxying. All tumblers will be different, so you will have to find your own measurement. So my width around the tumbler was 9.5 inches after 2 coats of epoxy. And I wanted this to be 2 inches in height. So I typed in 9.50 by 2 inches. Now I go get another square, and I want this about 1/4 inch. So 0.25 by 9.5. Same length, just I wanted them, shorter. So 0.25 by 9.5. Once I get that sized and get that lined up with my other rectangle, we'll say, I move that one down to get it aligned. Once I get it where I want it, kind of look at it, I then duplicate it 3 more times because I want 4 stripes to sit above, that larger rectangle. Once I get these aligned, get them kind of how I want them, I select them all, I go up to align, and I make sure that they are perfect. Okay? So once you get it aligned, you can select them all and click attach. I totally forgot to click attach, but it's still super easy. I clicked make it, and I didn't click attach. So what I did is I moved my larger rectangle down, moved everything up, and just made sure all of my pieces were touching the left side of the mat, so they will all cut the same exact size. Everything would be even. Once I get it how I want it, I then click continue. But first, this is the vinyl and the UVDTF that I will be applying to the tumbler. I wanted to show you that before we get to the next part. What I do before I cut is I move my template down. I look at my vinyl and I kind of compare it. When my vinyl's on the mat, I look at this mat, and I want certain pieces of the vinyl in my template. So I usually move it more down towards the bottom, make sure I have a little bit of everything that's in the vinyl cut on this template, and it looks okay when we go to apply it. I really hope that makes sense, but I always line up my template kind of in the middle or towards the bottom. Once you get your template where you want it on the mat, you're going to click continue. All of our Cricut settings are different. For this one, I am using premium outdoor vinyl, more pressure. I'll always do more pressure. Here's the vinyl on the mat. Let's cut it. Alright, now that the Cricut has cut our vinyl, I am going to get my scissors and I am going to cut that top half off, because guess what? We can use that for another template if we wanted to, or another tumbler. I don't waste. I know. So we're going to get that top half cut off, and then we are going to weed out our template and get ready to apply it to the tumbler. And you just made a template. If you follow this, you just made your own template. We're going to weed out this vinyl. Look, see, all Cricut settings are different. I cut that on more pressure and it still gave me shit. But there's our template. Now let's apply it to the cup. So I am wiping it down with 91% alcohol because I did sand it before applying the vinyl and the UVDTF wrap. So I'm going to start with my largest rectangle, and I am going to wrap that around the bottom of the tumbler. I wanted to leave a good amount at the bottom, so we're just going to wrap that around. May take you a couple times. It always takes me a few times, but this time I got it. Right now I am pulling it off the tumbler. I'm going to get it lined back up, and it wraps perfectly and meets up on the opposite side, which, like I said, this is a first. This is a first that I've only had to remove at one time. But I am going to get that smoothed out, make sure there's no wrinkles, and get that laid down so we can get into the stripes. All right, now time for the stripes. So I wanted an easy way so I didn't have to do these all individually, so I cut a piece of transfer tape. I'm cutting me a little strip of transfer tape, and I'm going to apply that on top of the 4 stripes, and then we are going to wrap it on the tumbler. I am going to speed this process up, but I apply the transfer tape, flatten it down, make sure we get them stripes up, and we are going to use the transfer tape to wrap it. But first, we need to make sure that we line it up, because we did cut this out together. So you can see the half of the butterfly. I am going to get that lined up, and then we're going to wrap it. So just remember, line it up, then wrap, because it all does veg together. And here it is after wrapping the vinyl. Isn't it cute? Now, let's get into chopping up the UVDTF. So, I really just wanted the saying out of this one because the wrap and the vinyl match. So, I cut out the saying, and then once I got the UVDTF on, I kind of lined it up, flattened it down, removed the carrier sheet. I grabbed a couple of elements from the wrap and just added it on each side of the decal, nothing big. I think I grabbed a flower, a couple of stars, nothing too much, and a butterfly. Once I got that laid down, it's done. Here it is. I absolutely love it. Just, it all vegged beautifully together. Now, I am going to seal it up with binding potion. Once I got it sealed, I let it dry for about 4 hours this day because it was a warmer day, so it dried faster. And once it dries, we're going to go into 2 final coats of epoxy. But in the first of the 2 final coats, I am going to be adding PDB's Diamond Dust to my epoxy mix to give it a beautiful silver shimmer. But I just love it. I knew I was going to make a YouTube tutorial with this one, so I wanted to show you guys how you can make an easy template in Design Space. Now let's epoxy. So this one took about 20 ml, and I added a minute amount of the Diamond Dust just to get a shimmer. This coat dried in about 2 hours. I went directly in with another final coat. And here it is. Just wait till you see the sparkle from that Diamond Dust. Like, it just... my idea came to life. I even added a yellowish pink holographic stripe to the bottom. Absolutely love how this tumbler came out. I really hope this inspires you to create your own template. And I want to thank you guys for the likes, the subscribes, and the shares. It is greatly appreciated, bitches. Thanks for watching.